Consideration paid for by the following. The Ohio Neck and Back Pain Relief Center, Scott M. Gray, D.C., across from the Marion Center between TSC and Kroger. For further information, dial 740-386-6580. Also located on the net at goodbackbadback.com. Marion Blue Racers football. Feel the heat, feel the excitement, the best fan experience going in Marion today. Perkins Family Restaurant and Bakery, located at 1197 Mount Vernon Avenue, right here in Marion. Open Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., and Sunday, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Hey, stop into Perkins and take a look at the newly remodeled dining room. Perfect for that family get-together or that intimate get-together with friends. And hey, while you're there, check out the delicious items in the bakery. Perfect for all those Thanksgiving needs, as well as any pie, cookie, or muffin add-on to any meal. Also, check out the Get Crackin' and Biscuit Bake menus. Perkins Family Restaurant and Bakery, a family tradition in Marion for well over 30 years. From our family to yours. Hey, stop on by. With you on a Friday edition of The Exchange here, joined by Charlie Evers, our regular Dooley the Clown down there. And if you didn't know by now, all week we've been broadcasting right here from Perkins Family Restaurant and Bakery, so I thought it only right that a server should stop by the table and we get a few words with her in just a moment. And once again, we want to thank the people at Perkins for letting us come here and broadcast. We will be doing this on November the 2nd, Wednesday, November the 2nd, Wednesday, November the 9th, and Wednesday, November the 16th, 5 to 8 p.m. Come in, get a meal, sit around, watch whatever we're talking about. You never know who's going to show up. It's a lot of fun. In the newly remodeled Perkins as of just about a month ago.
You know, when I was on the air, in the mornings I advertised for Perkins, and they would bring me a breakfast every week on a certain day. And, boy, I loved, what was it called? It had chicken and some coating on. Oh, it was so delicious. I wish I had one right now.
Did Madeline prepare that for you herself?
Might have, yeah.
Madeline,
a long time ago.
Madeline spent a lot of time back in the kitchen when I worked here.
For sure.
Years ago. What is the fascinating fact for this Friday, Charlie?
Okay, well, once again, I know Halloween is now gone, and I mentioned earlier that I think it's going to become one of the largest, most celebrated holidays. You know, it's being pushed by merchandisers, by retailers, and so forth, and they're doing a pretty good job of revising it or building it up. But what do older adults do when they dress up like characters? What kind of a party do they have? You ever been on one?
Oh, no, I don't get invites like that. Huh? Halloween party.
You know, I thought maybe tailgate parties was the biggest thing, but I think Halloween now. All you heard this year is tailgate parties, the advertisements for tailgate parties. Now, who puts their tail down
on a gate?
On a gate.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
but on bump. No, the question is, Charlie, why wouldn't you have a tailgate party? You don't have to pay.
What do you do to stay outside the game area? And,
I don't think
in the parking lot.
Well, not like
eat.
Not like a. Well, you can bring your own hot dogs and your grill and whatever.
But do they allow you cooking out in the parking lot?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Well, I suppose some people don't even know what the score was.
No, they don't. By that point, it's irrelevant. The score is long gone.
Okay, but tailgating seems to be, that and Halloween, the two biggest events being pushed.
And then when everybody's done, they head on over to your scourge, the buffet.
Oh,
the
yes.
buffet.
Got to tank up, boy.
Gee whiz. Okay. Oh, yeah. Julie, you're with us today. You've been with us all week, and you brought a bag of interesting stuff, and I thought, we got to say... Who?
My lunch.
Is that what your lunch? Well, let's see it.
Oh.
I thought, we'll save this for Friday. Let's...
I always take this to elementary school when they're having lunch and show them.
It's a banana.
A banana, that's right.
See, I know what my...
Big Banana. I used to advertise for a company called the Big Banana.
The big... it used to be on Main Street.
Yes.
They're getting their free advertising now. They've been out of business for
For a long
15 years.
time, yeah.
A big banana. That's
Yeah.
kind of neat.
Very nutritious for all of us.
Oh, I saw this laying on the
Then
table
there's
earlier.
my chicken sandwich.
Chicken?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Chicken sandwich.
Chicken?
I wonder how the
between-
chicken enjoys it.
Well, you've heard of what's it, cordon bleu? Well, this is chicken on a blue cord.
Guy's pretty clever, isn't
She
he?
liked it.
Yeah.
She liked it.
Yeah.
What is it? Oh, something's jingling in there, doing.
I've never seen a chicken with teeth like that.
The,
I think there is
Christmas
teeth.
on
well, Charlie's still talking Halloween.
Halloween? Well, a lot of people dress up like Santa Claus on
Yeah.
Halloween.
How many people alive today can remember a sleigh? Or riding in one?
I know it.
Yeah. One horse open sleigh. A lot of little kids say, "What's that?"
Santa Claus rides in a sleigh, Charlie. I think people know what sleighs are.
But he's got reindeer on his.
I
We're talking
understand
about
that.
one horse open sleigh. Why did Santa Claus choose reindeer?
Well, because he needed a lot of them.
Maybe they're
and the
easier to
horses
get.
were busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't know about that?
Yeah. No.
Yeah, there you go. There's a fascinating
Wow.
I
fact.
don't know, we get a couple of chuckles out of this chuckle.
I know.
Yeah.
I saw a horse once come out of a bar. He had a red nose.
That was a buffet. He came out of a buffet and he had a red nose. Before we get in any trouble here, we got the banana and we've got... so you don't know what you've gotten into now. You came to work tonight. You thought it was just...
I know.
Hey,
It's a surprise.
it's going to be... How long have you worked here at Perkins?
About a year and 4 months.
A year and 4 months. And have you ever come in on a night where you had a clown and just all
No,
this
I've
pandemonium?
never seen any of this at Perkins before, or any other restaurant around town.
And now, oh, that's good. I'll say that again into the camera. Say, I've never seen this at any other restaurant. Come to Perkins
I've never seen this at any other restaurant, so come to Perkins. You'll never know what you're going to find here.
and ask for
Ask for Brittany.
There you go.
Server.
Brittany,
What's the most popular dinner that you serve?
excuse you.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the older crowd, which is what we serve here, mostly, I'd say.
Oh,
They
feel like me. Yeah.
They like the
Yeah,
turkey.
prune juice.
Well, we don't have that, but
Oh.
and I've actually never been asked for that.
Yeah.
But the turkey and dressing is very popular,
Uh-huh.
I'd say. And it's
Mashed
very
potatoes
good.
and beef, I
Mashed
suppose.
potatoes, yep.
Yeah.
Green beans.
What was the breakfast I was talking about? It was chicken with a special sauce over it.
She wasn't here 30
Oh,
years
she
ago,
doesn't.
Charlie, when you were getting that breakfast.
Oh, well,
That thing's
I
been
bet they
going
have
for
it yet.
decades.
It had a real fancy name.
Nope. Not sure about that one.
Okay.
Well,
Maybe my manager can help you later.
yeah, we'll check into that.
Check into that.
Before we get into this, because I want Brittany to stick around here, because there are a lot of serving questions that I would like to get to. But Marianne Michaels recorded a piece on bicycling the other day. Charlie, you were a
Oh,
part
yeah,
of that piece.
that's right, yeah.
We want to make sure we get that in. And I think we have it queued up
Mm-hmm.
over here. I think we have it queued. Do we have the Marianne Michaels bit? Okay, yeah. Because we want to get that in today, but we're going to come back and talk with Brittany because I want to allow her to check her tables if she has any out there. I don't want to monopolize the time.
Yeah, because I wanted to ask her, too, why do waitresses come around and want to take your plate so quick? Are they short in the kitchen of plates?
Listen, I'll go home, Charlie. You lock up tonight. You sit here. You don't need me anymore.
Hey, could I take your plate?
You can take my plate. Wait, we're getting the piece queued up. So
Okay.
go ahead
Yeah.
and answer.
Just I think it's the cluttered feeling if you have a bunch of things
Yeah.
around, and a lot of times after the meal, people like to sit around and talk, enjoy each other's company, and
And not look at,
you
yeah.
don't want a bunch of empty.
Oh,
dirty
that's
plates
good.
sitting in front of
Okay.
you.
All right.
So,
What's a good tip? What's a bad tip? Real quick before we go to this bit.
good tip, money-wise.
What have people tipped you with?
Well, oh, I
Do
didn't
they-
know if you meant tip as in, like.
Like,
Can I
what-
come in?
what horse
Hey,
is gonna
listen,
win?
I'll come here every day if I can just give you words of wisdom on the way out.
Well, I
Here's my
that
tip.
as an extra, maybe, but 20% of what the bill is very good. Anything between 10 and 20 is pretty good. Usually we aim for 15, but 20 is awesome.
What's
10% is okay.
What's a bad tip? If you see this laying on the table, you say, ugh.
Well, even if it's good value-wise, change is pretty annoying. But
Rattles in your pocket.
Rattles around.
It adds up. But just if it's below 10% of the bill, then I probably won't be very happy.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to let Brittany check her tables here. We're going to go to a taped feature Marianne Michaels did on cycling in Ohio. It was a very good feature. Charlie was a part of it. Let's go to that. We'll come back and wrap up the week. Dooley, Brittany, and Charlie.
Go around, pick them up.
You weren't on the
Yep.
around Lake Erie.
I have one mic, so usually we have a table, but today we're doing a little bit different.
Ed Miller, and
Bob, why don't you move a little bit closer to me?
okay,
Let's get cozy.
okay. That's who got us. That's who got him into it, and he got me into it. One day I took my daughters, or I had to, my wife had to do something, and she'd taken my daughters to Ed Miller's house. What was his wife's name? Phil. Yeah, Phil was giving them music lessons, and my wife said, "Now you got to pick them up because I got to do this, that." So I would go to his house and I knock on the door and I go in the house to pick up the girls from piano lessons, and there's a post in the living room, the floor to ceiling, with 3 bicycles attached to it, and I can't stand stuff like that, And I said. I don't mean to be impolite, but I've never seen 3 bicycles on a post in a living room before. And he proceeded to tell me about how they'd ridden coast to coast 2 or 3 times. And so we started riding together, and then he got me into it.
Well, we're going to put all of this on the air,
He
so.
was very anti-bicycle. He kind of made fun of me for about a month or 2, and then all of a sudden...
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Well, you took me on first time you took me out, we went 80 miles. Remember, over by...
Okay, I'm ready. All right.
We'll go between 10 and 15 here, and she'll keep your time.
Okay.
In 5, 4, 3.
Well, of course, this is the section on potpourri, and I usually give words of wisdom. And the theme is risk nothing, risk everything. And this is what Mary Tyler Moore says. Of course, she's a famous actress. She says, take chances, make mistakes. That's how you grow. Pain nourishes your courage. You have to fail in order to practice being brave. And I think that's a real good thing to say. But anyhow, I have 2 special, very, very special guests. I taught school with these 2 sitting on either side of me. And they're going to tell us about a wonderful trip that they took. And I want to introduce Tom Gerlach. Tom?
Hello.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
And this is Bob Renaud.
Good afternoon.
All right, we're going to talk about cycling clear across the country. Can you imagine that? First of all, Tom, when did this all occur? And, I mean, give us the intro to it. How did it even become an idea?
Well, Bob Renaud got me involved in it, and our trip was in 1998, the summer of '98, and in fact we left Marion on the day Bob retired from teaching. And Bob retired, we hopped on a plane and took off for Seattle.
And I know that Tom told me about this, that you actually sent your bikes out there, didn't you?
That's right. We took our bike to Rocky's. Rocky was living then, and took our bicycles into Rocky, and he boxed them up and UPS them to Greg's Bicycle Shop in the middle of Seattle, Washington, by a beautiful lake. And I know we got in there. I think we left Columbus about 2 o'clock in the afternoon and got into Seattle about midnight their time, and went to a hotel. And then the next morning we got up and we had to walk several blocks to Greg's Bike Shop, and they had them all put together. And we put our equipment. I often think, Tom, everything we had in those boxes, we had knives and all sorts of things, and I think
Not today.
No, not today. So anyway, we got our equipment put together and put it on the bikes, and away we went.
And Tom, you told me that you didn't have to pay very much to send those bikes all the way out to Seattle.
It was, I think, $19 a bike, and it cost us $20 for Greg's to put them back together for us. But it was we had heard horror stories about bikers doing the coast-to-coast thing and taking the bikes on the planes with them, and they get there and they might have, might be 4 or 5 guys in the group, and they'd have a bike or two broken or a bike or two go on to Hawaii or someplace like that. So we didn't want to take that chance. So we thought we'd UPS them. Took about 4 or 5 days for them to get there. We could track them on the internet.
I think it's amazing that you went from Seattle all the way back to Marion on a bicycle. Now, I have to think that you must have had some kind of problems with your bikes. Did you?
Well,
Anytime?
actually, one thing we need to correct is that we went from Seattle, Washington to Portland, Maine on our bicycle.
Oh, my heavens, that's even farther. I was thinking you just came back home.
No, we went
Well, I mean, how long did it take?
Took 42 days, 3,420 miles.
And Tom, you told me a very interesting story about this very nice, attractive woman that you met along the way. Tell that story.
Well, we're riding along, and we're in Montana, and we're on Route 2. If you're familiar, if you're ever going to Cedar Point, you cross Route 2. It goes across northern Ohio. And Route 2 actually goes from Seattle to Portland, Maine. And we probably did 2,000 miles on Route 2. But we come up on this, she's probably 20, 21 years old, by herself, and she's all loaded up like our bikes were, and we're thinking, by yourself? Out here in Montana, you go miles before you see any civilization. And sure enough, she was going from Spokane, Washington, to someplace in Minnesota for a seminar for her college classes. And
Well, she had no fear, obviously, but you were quite concerned that, a young woman like that by herself traveling, I can't even fathom it.
she was beginning to get some fear by the time we got there. And she was pretty, my brother was with us, and so here's 3 old guys in their 50s. We're pretty harmless. And she was pretty happy to see us. And we camped every night, and she'd be in the same campsite area. And she was pretty happy to see us. She stuck around, and we said goodbye to her in Minnesota. She took off north, and we kept heading east.
Well, now, what about your provisions? Did you take everything with you, or did you buy things along the way?
I would say, well, the first part, yes, we took everything with us. We had tents to sleep in. We had our cooking gear. We were literally self-contained. A typical day, though, would be to get up and get our tents put together and start out, and hopefully within 3 or 4 or 5 miles we'd find a restaurant, and we'd have, a farmer's breakfast. And, some of those breakfasts are absolutely great. And then at noon we would probably stop at a convenience store, and I think I'd like to know how many cans of Gatorade we drank in 42 days, but buy egg salad sandwiches and candy bars and that sort of thing. But then at night in camp we would camp meals, and Tom Gerlach can really make good spaghetti.
Oh, that sounds great. Well, now, did you have any problems like, weather? Were there any storms or, along the way, or did you have a pretty good time as far as you picked a period of time when you thought probably there wouldn't be a lot of weather problems?
Well, we started out, till we got over the first range of mountains out of Seattle, it was pretty drizzly. In fact, we rode in the rain the first day. It was pretty wet. And then there were times, of course, when we were in the Great Plains, there would be times where we could actually see 5 or 6 thunderstorms at one time, and we'd get all ready and get our rain gear on and everything, and keep riding, and wouldn't get a drop of rain. We'd see all these storms and lightning. And there were a couple storms. One was really bad at night in Montana that we didn't get. It happened right, and then we rode through that area the next day, and there were just lots of damage and a lot of flooding, which didn't bother us. And then our very, very last day in Maine, it just stormed and stormed, and we didn't care. We were done.
Well, did you meet, other than this young lady, were there any people along the way that, you were able to talk to and share stories?
Yes, I guess one of my favorite people I remember was, we never did find out the fellow's name. He was probably about 60 at the time, and he was from the Netherlands. What did we call him, Tom?
Hans.
We never, Hans, and I think Grumpy came in there somewhere too. But Hans was just a grim-looking guy, but he was riding around the world, and he'd been to Tasmania and tell us about all the places. Yeah, I think North America was his third continent.
Tom, would you go to the back of me and bring out those pictures, because I think that would be real nice. And we also have Charlie with us, because Charlie is also a cyclist, and he's had a lot of trips as well. And Charlie, after we look at these pictures, I want you to ask them some questions if you have any. Okay, Tom, this obviously is the map. Wow.
This is where we stayed each night. Each pin is where we stayed each night. And as you can tell, when we got to the UP, we decided we did not want to come down south of the Great Lakes and deal with Chicago and Cleveland and all that. So we went across at Sault Ste. Marie into Canada, and we kept going straight. And if you notice, Canada, they get quite a distance apart,
Yes.
the pins.
Yes.
We had some long days, and it was very hot and humid. But then we came back into New York State and picked Route 2 back up in Burlington, Vermont, and went on.
Okay, and the other picture is the picture of all of you who were involved in this trip. Your brother. That is great. That's a great picture.
Yeah. That's me. that's my brother Bob, and this is Bob Bruneau.
What's,
And you can tell we were expecting rain that day. You can see the rain gear, the rain gear on our bags and things.
The yellow, yes, the yellow. Those are rain jackets for our bags, so that the things in the bags don't get wet.
Okay. Well, Charlie, you're sitting there real nicely listening, and would you have liked to have gone along with them?
Yes, I always wanted to do a trip like that, but having to work, and then when I retired, I was too old. But what was your biggest problem going across the country? Was it headwinds?
Actually, there are two reasons you go west to east. One is normally the wind's blowing west to east, normally. And the other thing is people don't realize the Rocky Mountains are steeper on the east side than they are the west side. So you go up longer, but it's easier from the west. And we'd heard that, and we found that out when we came down out of the mountains, because we zoomed down out of the mountains into the Great Plains. One day we had probably 40, 50 mile an hour winds, and they were behind us.
I remember that day. In fact, I was just reading the journal before we came here, and we did 132 miles in 7 hours on bicycles. And I remember just sitting up as straight as we could sit, because it just make yourself into a sail. And we moved out that day. That was something else.
You know, it's nice you didn't have to come back against that. Did you go through Kansas at all?
No.
I'd always heard people thought Kansas was flat, but I guess it's pretty hilly too. But there was one man that got, I think all of us started, and that's Ed Miller. Ed has retired a long time ago. Ed would never tell us his age. He was much older than any of us ever thought. And when I think that he used to manage my trips across Ohio, and if I'd have known he was as old as he was, I'd have felt, you know, my goodness, but he never let anyone know until the very end. But he got so many people interested in bicycling. Just really great.
Well, I'm interested to know how your wives felt. I mean, did you keep in contact with them?
We would call, between the three of us, one of us would call every night, and then that wife would call the other two or whatever. And there were a couple nights we couldn't make a phone call. One night we were stuck on top of a mountain.
That was the night we camped beside, I have in my journal that we camped beside a 4-foot snowbank that night. And that was one of the very few nights we were not in a campground. But we got to the top of a mountain, and we knew that it was 19 miles down the mountain to the next campground. So we just pulled into a little area and put up our tents. And the snow was taller than our tents because the plows had been through there and piled it up, I think.
Did you see any grizzlies?
No, we're actually kind of disappointed. We didn't see any moose, but we saw a bear in Glacier. I think it was a black bear, ran across the road in front of us. We met two other gentlemen biking when we were in Montana, and the five of us took a day off in Montana and rented a minivan, and we spent the day in Glacier National Park. And we saw a marmoth, and we'd never seen a marmoth before, and Glacier's pretty impressive. And we were very happy we decided against riding the Highway to the Sun. And once we got on it in the car struggled.
Well, it sounds like a really interesting. You must have been very proud of yourselves. I know I would have been.
You know, a sense of accomplishment, and I remember how hard it would be some afternoons after you'd already ridden 60 or 70 miles, and you knew you had 20 to go to the next campground, and it was 90 degrees, and there are times over the last 14 years that something has come up that's kind of hard, and I just say to myself, remember what it was like on that bike. Remember that you had to struggle, but it was worth it.
Well, you know, Tom, I know that you and your wife love to do all kinds of outdoorsy things. What are some of the other things that you do normally? I think you try to get to all of the national parks?
Yes, we've toured most of the national parks out west. We camp. We have a boat. We do boating, and every now and then I get her on a bike, but very rarely.
Charlie, anything else?
I just admire you guys for the courage and everything, and to do something I'd always wanted to do. The longest I ever traveled was across Ohio in a 4 days' time. But it was interesting, the people we met, too.
Well, what do you do? I know, Bob, didn't you have a bus that you took a tour called Bob's Bus?
I had two 24-passenger buses. I sold them about 2 years ago, but took people, primarily senior citizens and a lot of Amish people. We hold a lot of Amish people. We were in about 20 states with those buses, so I got to see a lot of things.
I think it's interesting. And I'm so glad that you came all the way from Columbus, Tom. And, of course, Bob, you live here. And are you doing anything special this summer? Or this
I have
winter, I mean?
have some lawns that I mow, and I'll be going down to Anna Maria Island in Florida after Thanksgiving. But
Tom?
No. I just worked Saturday I volunteer for Honor Flight out of Columbus that takes World War II vets to D.C. And that's a lot of fun, pretty rewarding. So if you know a vet, a World War II vet, get them signed up. Just go to honorflight.com and fill out an application. We won't be doing any more flights till spring because of the weather, but it's pretty impressive.
I think it's very nice, and thank you both so much for being on The Exchange. You were wonderful guests, and thank you, Charlie, as well.